of Morocco to India. He's also simultaneously accredited to Bhutan, Maldives, Sri Lanka. Uh, Excellency, are you around? Excellency Muhammad Maliki, are you around?
Yes, yes, sir. Yes, I am.
Okay, all right. Welcome to you, sir.
Thank you.
So, in the interest of time management, I now looking back, I should have made panels, Probably this could have gone for an entire day with such a splendid cast of experts and diplomats. But let me just turn to you. And, Excellency, my question to you is, from what one reads, there is North Africa region is among the most severely affected. And Morocco, I mean, how are you facing, why is the region, especially the North Africa region, the Arab Africa region, more affected by the pandemic? How is Morocco handling it? And looking ahead, in terms of the India-Africa agenda, I want you to focus on just one issue, which is one item, sphere of cooperation, where Morocco has undoubted strengths, renewable energy, for example, or you may have other areas to speak of. My request to you would be, please be precise so that we can get questions from the audience. You have 5 to 7 minutes, sir. After that, I will put this bell would really appreciate if you can finish your presentation in the allotted time. Over to you, sir.
Yes, thank you. Good afternoon to everybody, and let me thank you, dear Chant, for this initiative in celebrating the Africa Day, which unfortunately we don't have the choice but to make it virtually. But still, I'm quite happy that you have the initiative of celebrating it. And I wouldn't move without wishing my Muslim brothers and sisters a happy Eid, both in India and then worldwide, and to wish you all the best of health and prosperity. I won't miss this opportunity also without congratulating His Excellency Mr. Rahul Chabra for his appointment as the Secretary Economic Relations. And I am looking, sir, to working with you very closely very soon, as we used to have a great friend like Tirumoti. Let me start by the first question when you said that the North African countries have been a little bit more affected than the others. And it is quite natural because they are the closest countries to the epicenters like Spain, Italy, France, and all the others. So the huge diaspora which exists from Morocco and from these countries in these countries have definitely brought some of the cases, and then the pandemic has been also watched developing steadily. But I believe that great nations throughout history have always turned challenges into opportunities. And then for that reason, probably because you asked me a direct question, I would like to tell that when this COVID-19 broke, Morocco has taken very steadily and then serious steps to counter it and to minimize the effects on the population by closing the borders, both maritime and then airline. Well, we were the first, almost among the first countries to impose masks. And then at the same time, when we started by this pandemic, Morocco used to produce few thousands of masks. And then because we knew that the challenge would be to get these medical equipments as soon as possible, then the government, through a COVID fund, which created, and then which was able to get more than $3.5 billion in few days from all parts. We were able to readapt some of the industries. And then now we are producing something like 10 million masks a day, which is a huge number, and then sufficiently supplying all the parts of Morocco, and then also exporting it. Also in terms of other equipments, we were able to create our own, what you would say, the the ventilator, which is 100% made in Morocco because of the ban. So the necessity sometimes is the mother of invention. That's why I want all of us from Africa and from India to see the pandemic not only to create or say probably negative things, but to look at it as, you can hear me? Hello?
Yes, we can hear.
Can you hear?
Yes.
We can hear
Yeah,
you.
because I didn't see anybody from the screen.
We can hear you.
Thank you. So I want all of us to see this pandemic as a huge opportunity for us to rethink cooperation. And I believe it is quite important not to look always into Africa by bringing and thinking of bringing assistance and aid, but rather to think of co-development. And when I say co-development, means it's a win-win situation, it's win-win partnerships where both parties can benefit. And I think this pandemic has also shown to the world that vulnerability doesn't sometimes is not specific to some countries, like African countries or Asian countries. On the contrary, I think African countries have so far, and touch wood, are more resilient than other countries. But it showed that there should be a rethinking of the whole of the cooperation worldwide. And I'm quite happy that my South African friend has mentioned it. Yes, priorities are there, but we need to rethink them and then look at things differently. And then I think this pandemic has come into a timely moment, in the sense that it is at the eve of the 4th India-Africa Summit. So probably to me, this pandemic has shown at least 4 things to the whole world, and then of course including to Africans. The first one, that scientific research is not a luxury to any country, but it is a survival. Second thing, that having a sound health system at home remains the most, and that's most necessity, which becomes less costly and represents an assurance for our future generations. We need to have trust into our systems by developing it. Third one, education is the backbone of all what we are doing now. And I think to achieve all these objectives, education remains the only way to do it. Then I believe, it is a personal belief, that India and Africa need to involve all their means and resources to succeed in these hard times. And then here I would like to open brackets, and then when people say rightly that India is the pharmacy of the world, I also confirm. And from this panel, I would like to express our sincere thanks for the Indian high authorities who have allowed and permitted export on a purchase basis, but permit exports to Morocco of some of the medications. So I want this pandemic to work for us and then to redefine priorities. All these priorities exist in the India-Africa Forum, but I want them to take the most part of it, because it is the future. It is on an equal basis. India and Africans don't lack brains. In fact, most of the institutes worldwide are known to be having brilliant minds from our countries. And then the last example, but not the least, is when Trump appointed the Moroccan national, Mr. Monsef, to chair or co-chair this committee to find a vaccine in the United States. So we don't lack all these elements. We just need to create additional conditions for these workers and researchers to work. Last but not least, I think if India is able, because it has a very emotional and historical charges with Africa, and then it is a very serious asset for it, that if we manage to have this qualitative jump in our relations and then look into these priorities onto equality level, and then let me say that Morocco has always said through the highest authority, His Majesty, that you say Africans need to rely on themselves to develop. but they need also serious partners. And I think when we talked about seriousness, India stands and has a premium place, honestly, because of this historical and then emotional charges. And then because I see that the time is exactly 8 minutes for me, so I want to check, and then I'm quite happy to receive some questions. Thank you so much.